Ho ho ho, Merry Christmas and welcome to this special Christmas time after action report of Chain of Command. This is set during the Battle of the Bulge of Christmas time 1944 when the Germans were trying to push through the American lines. This is a German attack on an American held position in the village over here. As you can see, it's in a snow field. I don't actually have that much material for making snow in my collection. It's mostly summer stuff, but what I've done is improvised and used a white cloth here. However, I can add to the effects with the magic of television by making it snow, and we can play the game properly. So I'll show you the board, I'll show you the figures, and we'll get on with the game, and I hope you enjoy my bulging cock. So this is the delaying action scenario from the Chain of Command base rule set. I'm just using basic forces for this. The Germans are advancing up this road. They have a jumping off point here in this wood. They also have one here just behind this hedge and another one over here behind this fence in this ploughed field. They didn't get very far forward because the Americans during the patrol phase pushed quite far forward and closed down their jumping off points pretty quickly. The Americans are defending this small crossroads here, this important crossroads, so they're in this area here, and they have 3 jumping off points, one of which is behind this house here at the back. They have another one behind this house here at the back, you probably just see that there, and then they have their third and final one here. Now the Germans, to win the game, all they have to do is capture one jumping off point and hold it for a full turn, and that's it. If there's nothing else, basically the defenders have to stop them doing that. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting game, as I said, set during the Battle of the Bulge, because that is one of the most famous Christmas battles of all time. And we'll just see how we get on. So I'll just show you the troops and what the forces are fighting each other. So these are our forces. So we've got a German platoon, very typical, made up of 3 sections of infantry, each with 6 rifles, a junior leader with a submachine gun, an MG34 plus a rifleman, so 2 crew and a rifleman, and they've also got a Panzerfaust in each of these as well. So there's 3 of those. They also have their senior commander, senior leader, and they have a Panzerschreck team as well of 2. The force morale points, they've got a force morale of 9, same as the Americans, they both got the same. They got 8 for their support points, so for that they got themselves a medical orderly and a Stug 3G as well, because they want some heavy armour to take out that position if they can. The Americans facing them, same again, 3 sections. These are made up of a BAR team of 2 men plus a rifleman with a Garand, M1 Garand, and then they also have 8 rifles, each with Garands, and their junior leader with a submachine gun. They also have a bazooka team as part of their headquarters, and 2 senior leaders. One is lieutenant or lieutenant, and his sergeant major. So 3 of those. They get half the number of points plus 1, so they paid for a 57mm anti-tank gun with 5 crew, because they thought there was probably going to be some German armour in the area, so they took their precautions with that. So that's the forces. Let's get on with the game. The Germans start first, and let's see what happens. So as we said, the Germans have got the initiative, they're kicking off things. Let's see what we get. So we got 2 6s, so they instantly retain the phase, so that's pretty good for them. They also have here, they have a 1, so that's a team, a 2, which is a section, and a 3, which is a junior leader, or they could combine and put out 2 junior leaders. That's probably the best thing they want to do at this point, start getting some of those forces on the table before the Americans can try to close down some of those jumping off points. Very simple opening moves here. We've got this section came on this side, this section came on this side. They're trying to flank this village. I did think about putting on the Stug, but I wanted some infantry supporting first of all. So we've got these 2 on at the moment. Both because they were brought on by the junior leaders. They've gone on to Overwatch just in case. I don't think there's going to be any Americans anyway, but just in case, they're ready to fire at anything that does move. So the Germans are keeping the phase. And we have, this time 6 will do nothing, so we go back to the Americans straight after. We've got senior leader, another junior leader, and 2 sections. So that's quite good actually. So that could maybe bring on another the tank and even another section, and also their one of their senior leaders as well. Well, there is only one actually. So they may bring him on, they may not. We'll see how it fares. Right, so this turn the Germans have brought on this extra section here. They've also moved this one forward. They only managed to get 3 inches forward, but they're at least moving. They also brought on their Stug as well, the junior leader, but they've left off their senior leader because I realise that there's also 2 other teams to bring on, the medical orderly and the Panzer Schreck, so they're going to leave him off for now. Anyway, on to the Americans' turn. Right, so the Germans are moving fast. The Americans are going to have to respond to this very quickly. Let's see what we've got. Oh, well, they've got 3 chain of command points, so that's a pretty good start at least. They also have a 6, which does nothing on its own, and a 3, which is a junior leader. So that could be their 57mm gun, but it could also be a section. We'll have a think about that. So the Americans elected to bring on a section. On their first sections with a junior leader, he has put them on Overwatch as well. I'm allowing them to be able to see through these smaller fences, but not through the hedges. So currently they can't actually fire at anything because the Germans are behind hedges, so they can't actually see them at this point. But once they get out, this is going to be light cover for firing at Germans. I was going to bring on the 57mm gun, but I think at this point it's probably better to get as many infantry on the board as well as possible, because they really need to hold on to these jumping off points. Okay, back to the Germans. Well, they have 2 chain of command points. They're going to want to build those up so they can end a turn as soon as they capture a jumping off point. So that's not bad. So they have a 1, which is a team, a 2, which is junior leader, and a 3, which is a section and a junior leader. So they could combine those into 2 junior leaders and again get these sections moving forward. Let's see what they do. Well, that wasn't a particularly great turn for the Germans. They moved forward their Stug, but it only moved 4 inches forward, obviously suffering some kind of engine trouble. And then they also moved forward this section as well, but at least they got these under cover and behind this hedge, so they're not actually in the sight of the Americans, which are lining that fence line over there. So that's all they did. Back to the Americans. So the American roll is 2 6s, so they at least retain the phase, so that's pretty good for them. They also have a 2 a section and 2 junior leaders, so again that's quite good. That means they can bring on the rest of their platoon and that 57mm gun. So the Americans have brought on their section here, their second section here as a mobile reserve, so they're now lining the fronts of both of these houses and protecting this jumping off point in particular. And they've also brought on their 57mm gun here, which is pointing directly down the road right at that Stug, which is just down there. So what they're going to do is take a shot at that, see if they can do any damage to it before it gets anywhere near this infantry. Right, we have the 57mm gun firing at the Stug over here. It is firing at a low target. However, the commander is using 2 of his initiatives to get it to fire, so there's -1 for the low target, +1 for him using his initiatives. So they need a 5 or above to hit. Let's see if they do that. So that's a 6, so that's just a hit. So their strike dice is 7 dice. They're looking at 5s and 6s to do any damage. We have 1 strike on the Stug. The Stug's armour is 7. And that is looking to save on 5s and 6s. We have 1, 2, 3, so that has actually negated any effect from the firing first of all. Right, the Americans retain the phase, so let's see what they can do again. So we've got a 5, so that's another chain of command points, so that takes that up to 4 now. We also have a 4, which is their senior commander, 2 1s, which are teams, and a 3, which is a junior commander. So I'm assuming that's probably going to be the 57mm gun again. Let's have a think and see what happens. So we're back in with the 57mm firing against the Stug. 5+, because they're using their commander, their junior leader, to give them a boost, and they're also firing at a low target. The vehicle has moved, should I say. So that's a 6, so that's a hit. So same again, 7 strike dice, 5s and 6s. So we've got 1, 2 this time, and 7 armour on the Stug, so it needs to get more than 2 to defend against that. That is equal hits, so we roll again for the equal hits. 6 is 1 shock and reverse 1d6 immediately. Right, so this attack is not going great so far for the Germans, but let's see what they get for their command roll. Cock that dice, so just roll it so it's not uncocked. So we've got a 6 is nothing on its own. Senior commander, a junior leader, and 2 1s, which could be a section or 2 teams. So the junior leader in the Stug, despite reversing back, he's reduced shock, and he's now going to fire down that road at that 57mm gun at the end of the road. The Germans have also brought on their senior commander and medical orderly, and on the other side as well their Panzer Schreck team as well. So now all the Germans are on the board, so let's get this firing done. Right, so we've got our Stug firing back. He's got a vehicle machine gun and also the main gun. Main gun is firing 5 HE. He needs 4 5s and 6s to hit because of the range, so that's 2 hits. They are hitting light cover, but because it's HE it reduces the cover, because they're light cover because they are behind a gun shield, but the HE reduces the cover. So 5 and 6 as the kills, 3 4 is shock. So because they're in the open, so that's 2 shock already on the AT gun. And then it's also got a vehicle machine gun, which again is firing, but this time it's in a effective range, so it's over 18 inch. So this is hitting now on a 5 or a 6. So let's see what we got there. We got 1 2 3 hits, and this is hitting in light cover because of that shield, gun shield. So 6 is a kill, 4 5 is shock. So we've got 1 kill, so they've ended up with 1 kill and 2 shock. So that's the Germans' turnover. So back to the Americans, and we have what's this one? I can't see that because of the shadow. So 2. So we've got 2, a 3, a 4 and a 1. So quite a good mix there. Junior leaders and senior leaders as well. So the Americans have brought on their senior leader. He's reduced shock on the AT gun, and then he's going to get, well, their junior leader is then going to get that to fire again at that Stug. So we're looking again, 5 plus is a hit. Oh, that's an 8, that is a hit. So the strike dice is 7, 5s and 6s, so that's 4. Oh god, the Stug is going to have to defend well against this, so they're looking at 5s and 6s again, so they've defended 2 of them, so that is 2 net hits on that Stug. So we roll again, we get a 2, so they get 2 shock, the gunner is kills, it takes 2 activations for another crew member to take over. Let's see what happens with them. This Stug looks like it might be out of the game, you know. Let's just see. 2 6s, they retain the phase at least. So we get a senior commander, a 2 and a 1, which is a junior commander. Okay, the Germans have used their senior commander to move this section a bit further forward, with the medical orderly as well, and their junior commander, their junior leader, to bring this section forward as well, get it into cover as well. So they're quite close, really, to that American line there. I was thinking about what to do with the Stug, but I've left it for now because the Germans retain the phase anyway, so they may get to do something with it this turn. And the Germans' next phase is a 6, does nothing on its own. The 5 gives them that chain of command point that they want, so they're now on 3. And they also get 2 1s and a 4, so a senior and possibly a section or even 2 teams. So the Germans are really pushing forward. They've used their senior leader to get this team up to this hedge. They can't fire, but they are in position to fire the Americans on this flank. They've also shoved this team forward as well with the 2 1s into a section. Got these further forward. Again, these can't fire because they moved. They moved on 2d6. But they are now in a position to be able to start firing at that 57mm gun at least. Same with these guys. But it's the Americans' turn, so they may put a fly in their ointment. And the American command dice roll is, we have 2 senior commanders, so that's both of the ones that are on already. We've got 2 junior commanders and a section. So there's going to be a lot of firing, I think. So we're firing here. I did forget the Americans were actually on Overwatch. They should have fired once the Germans moved into position here, but never mind, I forgot. It happens. So what we're doing is they're now firing anyway, under command of their senior leader over here. He's got an SMG, so has their junior leader here, so they can't fire because they're just over 12 inch. But they've got BAR rolling 3 dice, and then the rest is Garand's firing. These re-roll any 1s. And we're looking at 5s and 6s because they're in effective range. So let's see what we get. So we got 1-2 hits straight away from the BAR. 1 hit from the Garands. And then we get to re-roll that 1 on its own. So we'll re-roll that. A 5, so that's another hit. So that's 4 hits. They're in light cover. 6 is a kill. 4-5 is shock. So let's see what we got. So we got a 6. So that's a kill. And 4-5s, there are none of those. Then we have to roll because there is a junior leader in there. Well, there's actually 2 leaders in there. So we've got some firing over here. The Americans are firing from behind this fence line. The Germans here behind the hedge. They've got a BAR which is firing 3. They should have really fired before with their Overwatch, but I forgot, so never mind. Then the rest is their automatic Garands. Now these get to re-roll a 1, so that's why I've got them in red. They don't fire with their SMGs because they're just out of range. So let's see how many hits we get. They need 5s and 6s because they're at effective range. So we've got 1, 2 from the BAR, and then we've got 1, 2 from the Garands. We've also got a 1 there, and they get to re-roll that because it's an automatic rifle. So let's just see what that is. That's a 3, so that's a miss. So that's 4 hits. There's 2 teams in there, so we've got a team on the LMG and also a team on the rifles there. So we re-roll their hits. They're in light cover. 6 are kills, so this is for the infantry rifle, should I say. 3 is nothing. They need 4 or above. And then on the LMG, a 6 is a kill, but there is also a junior leader in there, so we have to roll again to see if he's hit. On a 1, he's the one that takes the hit. No, he's not. So one of the rifles is killed with the MG34 team. And then we have the same over here. This team is firing, this section is firing at the German section as it advances over the route. So 5s and 6s are hits, 1s are re-rolls for the Garands again. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits initially, and there's 3 re-rolls in there, so that's pretty good. Let's see what that does. They have 2 more hits in there. So we spread those between the 2 teams. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 hits. So that's 4 hits on each team. 4 on the LMG, 4 on the rifles. So we'll do the rifles first. And we have this time 2 kills and 1 shock. So let's put that down to remind me. We've got 2 kills. We've also got a junior leader in there. He may be hit. Let's see. 1 or 2 he is. No, he's not. So we take 2 off. This guy and this guy. And then the LMG team of 3 men. This takes 4 hits. So this takes 1 shock. So there's no kills there. So now you'll remember we've got the 57mm gun that's firing at our Stug down here, which is shocked and hasn't moved. It's been knocked back. So we're looking at a 5 or above because they're using their senior commander to fire. 4, that's a miss. So we're back with the Germans. They are now going to have to try to really push forward and do some damage on the Americans. They're taking a lot of hits here. So we've got 2 5s. So that's a chain of command. That was a 6. That does nothing. So that takes them up to now to 5 points, chain of command points. So that's those done. We've got a senior commander and a team. So our German senior leader has activated this section. He's also activated this section. These are firing here. These are just going to fire straight forward up at those there. So this section here is firing with the LMG and with rifles. So we'll give those a roll. We're looking at 5s and 6s because they're effective range. So that's 1 hit in total. Brilliant shooting there from the Germans. So they're 1 hit in light cover. 6 is a kill. 5 is shock. So we'll just put a shock dice there for them. So that's all they've taken. It doesn't really matter which team took it. The Germans are firing this 57mm gun this time over there, and they're now firing with 5 rifles and with their LMG as well. So same again, 5s and 6s because they're its effective range. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3. That's 3 hits. They are really doing poorly on this firing. There is a senior leader connected to that team, but let's see if they've done any kills. They are in light cover because they're behind their gun shield. So 5 and 4 is 2 shock on the gun. So pretty ineffective firing there from the Germans. The Americans are doing okay with this defence at the moment. Let's just see how we get on. We've got CoC dice there, so we'll just shake that up. So we've got 2 5s for the Americans. That takes them up to a full chain of command dice. They also have their senior commander, a 2 and a 1, so that could be a junior leader as well. I think I know what I'm going to do with those. So they used a junior leader over here. He's reduced shock. They only had 1, so he's gone. And then he's also getting that section to fire at the Germans again. They've got the Garands, which are re-rolling on 1s, and the BAR, which they're all hitting on 5s and 6s. So let's see what we've got. We've got 1, see how many hits, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits. There's no re-rolls because there's no 1s on those Garands, so 7 hits. So we split those between the teams. The rifles will take 4 hits, the LMG team will take 3. So we'll roll for those. 6 are kills, 4, 5 shock. So nothing whatsoever. And then on the rifles, we've got 2 shock. And then we've got our senior leader. He is getting the 57mm gun. Same again to fire again at the stug all the way down the end of this road. That's what they're going to try to do. So we're looking at a 5 or above. So that's a 6, so that's a hit. So it's 7 strikes. 5 6s are going to be effective. Not a single one. The stug, however, will need to roll at least 1 defence to negate everything. And they haven't. So it's actually tied. Equal hits and saves. So we roll again. A 1 is no effect. Feels a little like the German defence is bogging down, attack should I say, is bogging down at this point. Let's see what they can do. So we've got a 5, so that's a chain of command points, so at least they can end a turn if they ever capture one of these jumping off points. 2 4s, 2 senior leaders, a 2 and a 1, so that could be a junior leader or a section and a team. So the German senior leader has reduced shock here. He's getting these 2 sections as well to fire with his final 2 command initiatives. So first section, firing everything they've got to this section here. 5s and 6s are hits. So let's get rid of misses. This is looking a bit better than it did last time. So that's 5 hits. They're in light cover. 6 kills, 4 5 shock. Sorry, I always forget this. We've got to split this between the 2 teams. So 2 on the LMG, on the BAR, should I say, and then 3 on the rifles. So the rifles taking theirs first of all. So they've taken a kill and a shock. Let's put shock dice down. The kill could be on the junior leader. So let's just see. A 1 it is. No, it's not. It's one of the rifles. So that's that guy there. And then we also have 2 hits on the BAR team. So that's another shock. So both of those are shocked. So there's the rifles, there's the BAR. And then we have the other section firing its LMG again at the 57mm gun. So we're looking at 5s and 6s to hit. So let's see how many hits we've got here. There's a couple of cocked ones there, but that's a 2 and a 1. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 hits on there. So let's roll those again. There is a senior leader in there as well, don't forget. So we've got, that's 3 shock on the 57mm gun. Well, back with the Americans. They are really blunting this German attack at the moment. 6 does nothing. We've got a 4 senior commander, 2 1s and a 2. So that's junior commanders and also, or sections. So let's have a think about that. The Americans have got their senior leader to reduce the shock off the 57mm gun. That is then going to fire again at the Stug. They're using a section for these guys to fire at that section over there, and then they're also going to use this section over here to fire at the section in front of them. So let's see how the infantry firing get on with. First American section firing over here. BAR is in red. No, everyone needs 5s and 6s, re-roll 1s on the white dice because they're the Garands. So we've got 1, 2 hits, but we've got 3 re-rolls. So let's see how many that brings up. So that's another hit. So that's 3 hits in total. And that's on this section here. So we've got 2 on the rifles, 1 on the LMG. So the LMG takes nothing. And the 2 rifle hits. A 6 is a kill. Let's see if it's on their junior leader. A 1, and it is. No, it's not, so it's just one of the infantry. And then on the other side of the fence, we have a similar number with the Garans again re-rolling on 1s. So we're looking at 5s and 6s. 1, 2, 3 hits. There's 2 re-rolls there. So let's quickly re-roll those, see what happens. And that's another hit. So 4 hits in total, 2 on the LMG, 2 on the rifles. So the rifles, nothing, we need a 4 or above, and then the LMG is a 4, so that's 1 shock. And then we're firing again at this increasingly put upon Stug, so 5 or above is a hit, so that's a hit. So the strike is 7 dice, 5s and 6s are needed. Well, we've got just 1. The Stug defends against that with a, let's see, that's 3 defences, so no effect. So again, back with the Germans. Let's see, we've got 6, does nothing on its own. They get a chain of command points, so that takes them up to 7 now. So that's the 5. So they've got a 3 junior leader, a 2 and a 1. So we could potentially do something with those. Bit of a mix. So the Germans have used a section to move these guys forward. They're slowly inching them ever so slowly forward to this flank on the American side here, trying to get up through those fields if they can. And then our German senior commander reduced shock off this team again, and he's getting these 2 sections to fire. So these are firing the 57mm, these are firing at this section here. So we'll start with this. These guys firing 5s and 6s are hits. Let's see what we've got. That looks like a reasonable number there. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 hits in total. So the light cover again, looking at 6 are kills. Oh, sorry. Let's divvy these up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got actually 4 hits on one team, 5 hits on the other. So 4 hits on the BAR, 5 hits on the rifles. So we'll do the rifles first of all. 6 are kills, 4, 5 is shock, so that's actually 4 shock. So that takes them all the way up to 5. That's more like it. This is what we need. And then the BAR, they have 4 hits. So again, 6 are kills, 4, 5 is shock. So that's 2 kills and no shock. This time there is a junior leader kicking about there, so let's see if he's the one that's hit. 1 or 2 he is. No, he's not. So it's 2 of the BAR. And then this section firing at the 57mm. Again, 5s and 6s are hits this time, so we're looking at again a lot more than there has been in the past. So that's 5, 5 hits. It's only 1 team, so we'll see what happens. 6 are kills because they're in light cover because of that. Oh my goodness, that's 4 kills. Okay, so that means there's only 4 left in there. 1 to a 4, the senior leader is hit as well. Yes, he is hit. Is he killed? 1, he's killed outright. 2, 3, he's wounded till the end of the turn. 5, 6, he is wounded and reduces his command initiatives. So a 6, he reduces his command initiatives, and most of that team is then wiped out, apart from 1 man, so they can't actually operate that gun anymore. I don't think that means that the gun is lost, but we do have to roll on the bad things happen for the senior leader being wounded. So we'll roll again. So the first morale hit. A 6. Oh, that's a reduction of 2 points on the Americans' morale. That is not good. So back to the Americans though. They now have another 2 chain of command points. So we've got a 4, a 2 and a 1. They can probably do something with that. We'll have a think about it. Right, the American senior commander is jumping on that 57mm gun. Because he's not trained, it means there's a -1 to fire with it. So they need a 6 or above to hit this stug. Again, so that is a 7, so they have actually hit it. Strike dice. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3 hits. And let's see what their defense are. I've got to defend at least one of these, otherwise that stug is gone. They've defended all of them. So we roll again, see what happens. We've got a 5. 5 is a shock and reverse d6, 1d6 inch immediately away. They are currently right on the edge of that table. So let's just see what happens, because if that disappears, then I'm going to count that as a unit falling off the table. So let's have a look. 1 inch. They're all right. They're still on there. Right, back to the Germans then. Fortune maybe favouring them at the moment, but let's just see. So we've got, that's a 1 down there. So we've got 2 5s. So they've got another 2 points on their chain of command points. So that's 8 so far. And then 2 and 2 1s. Right, the Germans are carrying on hammering away. They're using their senior leader to get these 2 sections to fire again. So the first one firing at the Americans over here. 5s and 6s are hits. So we've got 1, 2, 3 hits in total, and 6s are kills. So that's 1 kill. No shock. Sorry, I should have divided that up between the 2 teams. Too late now, I can't be bothered. There's only 1 kill anyway out of all of them. It could be their junior leader though, a 1, and it is. No, it's not, so it's just one of their guys. So there's another rifleman taken off. And then we also have the other section firing up here at the 57mm gun again. So this time we've got the LMG with its 8, and then we've only got 4 rifles this time. So 5s and 6s. That is 2 hits. They really needed more than that. And 6 is a kill, 4 5 shock. Well, that's a kill and a shock. Let's see if it's on the senior commander. No, it's not. It's on the gun crew. So that has destroyed the gun and the gun crew. So that means that's another command, another role for the Americans. However, they're going to spend a chain of command points to not take a morale test. Right, so we have right back on, it's the Americans. They have a chain of command points. That takes them up to 3. They have a senior commander. They have a junior commander. And they also have a 2 and a 1, which could also be another junior commander. The American senior leader has run across here, away from the 57mm gun wreck, and has reduced shock with the junior leader over here. So they now got those under control, and then they're going to be firing over here at this section. And then we've also got a junior leader over here. He's going to be firing at this section over here up on the road. Right, so our first section firing from these into these. Let's have a look. 1s are re-rolls on the Garands. 5 6s are hits otherwise. So we've got 1 2 hits. Then we've also got 2 re-rolls. So looking for 5s and 6s on those. No hits. So 1 hit on each team. So we'll do the rifle first. 6s kills. That's a kill. Maybe it's on their junior leader. A 1 and he's hit. No, he's not. So it's one of their rifles. And then they've also got a hit on those guys over there. So 5 6 is a hit. A 2 is not a hit. So that's nothing. So just 1 rifleman killed. So I'll just put myself a reminder there. And then we also have the other section over here firing. They're the ones No, these are actually going... No, they can't fire those because they're hedging the way. They're firing at the ones on the hedge line there. So, let's have a look. 5s and 6s are hits. So that's 1, 2, 3 hits. They do have 3 re-rolls there from their grounds though. So we've got no more hits. So 3 hits, 1 on the LMG, 2 on the rifles. Rifles take nothing, and the LMG takes a kill. It could be their junior leader, a 1. Sorry, their senior leader. No, it's not. Right, back to the Germans. We've got 2 chain of command points, so that is up to 5 now. We've also got 3 1s, so that's a junior leader. All the Germans have done is they've reduced the shock in the Stug with the junior leader and swapped over the radio guy for the gunner, so they now have a gun in the Stug useful again. So it's back to the Americans' turn now. So the Americans have got a 6, doing nothing on its own. 2 5s, so that's 2 chains of command points. A 4 and a 1. Not great. Not really what they need at the moment. Well, I didn't think it was great, but the senior commander reduced shock and then getting this section to fire. He's also commanding that section as well to fire down on those. So we'll do this one first of all. So re-rolls on the white dice again, but 5s and 6s are hits. 1, 2 hits, no re-rolls. So 2 hits, 1 hit on the LMG. 3 is nothing, 1 hit on the rifles, 1 is nothing as well, so ineffective. However, the other section is also firing across to these ones here, so 5s and 6s are hits. So let's see what we got. That's more like it, isn't it? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hits, no re-rolls though. So 4 on the LMG, 5 on the rifles. So the LMG takes 1 kill and also 1 shock. So we'll put that shock on there. They've probably taken a lot more kills at this point than I've been counting. That 1 kill may be on the junior leader. No, it's not. So just 1 kill on the LMG team. And then 5 hits on the remains of the rifles. There's only 2 of them. So have a look, we've got 2 shock, no kills this time, so that takes their shock up to 3. There's 5 there, and there is 5 men left in that section, so it's almost broken but just not quite. It is pinned at the moment. Right, okay, so we're back with the Germans now. Let's see what they can do. So we're retaining the phase at least. 2 4s, 2 senior commanders and a section. So we've got the German section here commanded by the senior commander. He's getting them to fire at this section over here that's got the American senior leader in there. So let's have a look. 5s and 6s are hits here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. So let's see what we do with that. 6s are kills. Oh, sorry, let me divide it between the teams. 3 on the BAR, 3 on the rifles. So let's do the rifles first of all. 6s are hits, 6s are kills. That's 3 1s, nothing. And then on the BAR, 6s are kills. So that's another 6 because he was cocked. So that's 2 hits. And 1 of those may be on the senior leader. 1 or 2 it is. No, it's not. But it destroys that team. So that's a bad thing's happened for the Americans. They haven't got chain of command dice, so they can't actually. They have to roll this. So this is a team wiped out. 4, 5, 6, and they get a -1 on there. Yes, 4, 5, 6. They have lost a morale point. And then over here we've got this other section firing at the Americans here. 5, 6s again. It's a hit. That's 1 hit. So I'll re-roll that. 2 is nothing. And the Germans are retaining the phase. So let's see what happens with that. 5 is another chain of command points, so they've got 2 of them now. They've also got a junior, and they could change that into a junior or even into a senior leader and a section. So the Germans have reduced shock on with a junior leader on their Stug and brought it forward, add the double, so it's barreling forward. They've also, they're going to get the section at the back there firing, and then they're using their senior leader was over here to fire again at the Americans. They're holed up behind these fences. So let's see how they get on with that. Right, so we're firing rifles and LMGs over here. Shake those out. We've got 1, 2, 3 hits. We're looking at 5s and 6s. The Americans here in light cover. 6 of the kills, 4, 5 shock. So that's a kill and a shock. So let's put that shock down straight away. Again, I forgot to split it between the teams, but never mind. So we'll put that on the rifles. And then the kill, we'll take that also off the rifles, but let's just see, there is a senior leader in there. No, he's not hit. So it's just one of the rifles. Our next section, firing again. They are firing only a few dice really. Let's see this. 1 hit. So that is this is on the rifle team. A 4 is 1 shock. And then we have the final section firing over here again, 5s and 6s. There's only 1 team left there anyway now, so let's just see. We've got 1, 2, 3 hits this time. And see what that happens with those. That is just 1 shock. And back to the Americans. Let's see what they've got. So we've got senior commander, junior leader, another junior leader, and a 2 and a 1. So that's, it could actually be 3 junior leaders and a senior commander as well. So that's a pretty good spread for what they need. So they split their dice. A junior leader over here is going to reduce shock by 1 and then get them to fire at that section behind the hedge. And then the senior leader, which is their sergeant over here, he is reducing shock by 2 over here, and then he is going to get them to fire again at that section behind the other hedge. So let's get them firing. So for the first section firing, this is much reduced. They've taken a hell of a lot of damage. They're really down to 1 team of rifles, but they're Garans, so they get to re-roll their 1s. But let's have a look, see how many of those we get. We've actually got 2 hits and also 2 re-rolls in there as well. So let's have a look at that. And then we'll spread these hits amongst these teams, the German teams. 2 2s, no hits. So it's down to 2 hits, 1 on each, 1 on the rifles, 1 on the MG, LMG, sorry. So the rifles, a 3 is nothing. They need a 4, 5 or a 6 to do anything. And then on the LMG itself, a 4 is 1 shock. So not great firing, but they have caused some shock. On the other side of the hill, we've got a BAR plus 7 Garans this time firing, so let's roll those. Garans get to re-roll on the 1s. We're looking for 5s and 6s though, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there is 1 re-roll in there, so let's just have a look at that. And that is another 1, so that's a miss. So you don't get a second re-roll. So we've got 4 hits, 2 on the MG, which is now down to 2 crew, and then 2 on the rifles, which is also down to 2 men. And we've also got a junior leader in there, so let's just see what happens with that. The rifles first. So that is another shock and a kill. So that takes their shock up to 4. They also have a junior leader in there, so let's just see if he is hit and or injured. So a 1 he is. 4, no he's not, so it's one of the rifles. We'll work out the morale in a second. And then we've got the machine gun crew, again 2 hits on these, so again 6 is the kills, 4, 5 is shock. 2 3s, so that's nothing there. However, they now have 4 men in that section, and they have 6 shock, so that means they are now pinned rather than anything else, so they can't move forward, and all their firing is halved from now on in. Right, well let's see if the Germans can get themselves out of this pickle and hopefully cause some casualties on these Americans. They need to reduce their morale as much as possible. So a 6 is doing nothing on its own. Oh, it's and it's that's 3 4s and a 1 is a team. So that's not really particularly good. They might be able to get the Stug moving as part of the team, but they've only got 1 senior leader So that's not great. Okay, so we weren't able to move the tank, but we've got a bit of dynamic leadership. The leader has moved for one of his command initiatives. He's moved to attach himself to this section. He's reduced their shock by 2, so that's cost him 3 of his 4 initiatives. And then his 4th and final initiative, he's going to get this section to fire. He could have got these to fire before or after. He's still within command range. It doesn't really matter. These guys are firing over here as this team with a junior leader and a senior leader attached. So we're looking at 5s and 6s to hit. And that's a reasonable number. So that's 5 hits. And there's only one team there, so we don't need to split this. So this has all been taken by that one team. Let's have a look at what we've got. Not great. 1 shock, that's it. So all that firing, all those hits, and they've just caused 1 shock on that team. Okay, again back to the Americans. They've really got to work on breaking this German morale as much as they can. So 5 is doing nothing. A 6 is a chain of command points. Sorry, a 6 is doing nothing, a 5 is a chain of command points. So we've got senior commander and 2 junior leaders. So same again, we've got the senior leader, he's reduced their shock and then getting those 6 Garans to fire at the guys behind the hedge here. So see what that does. That is a 4. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3 hits there, no re-rolls. And again, so 1 on the MG, 2 on the rifles. The rifles take 1 shock, and then the MG, 1 hit on it, takes nothing. So very little effect. This is slightly starting to bog down a bit. These Germans really need to start moving stuff forward, like the Stug in particular. He's just sitting doing nothing at the moment. We've got the other section over there is firing. Same again at these chaps here in the open. They're really looking to destroy this section just to start getting rid of some of this German morale. So let's have a look. Red again is BAR, so that's a hit. We've got 1 from the Garans. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Ooh, 5 hits. And there's also a re-roll in there. This is a bit tricky for the Germans because there is a senior leader in there. They're only 1 in fact. 3 is nothing, no hits. So we've got 6 hits spread between the 2 sections, the 2 teams. So that's the MG team. This is the rifle team. So this is only 1 man left in this. So let's have a look. So that's 6 is a kill. And then also 2 shock. Right, well let's first of all put this shock on. It may only be the rifleman. If it kills the rifleman, the shock disappears. But it may be the junior leader or the senior leader. So let's go with the junior leader because he's closest. 6, no it's not him. Needed a 1 to hit him. Over here we've got the MG team, but sorry, that has killed that rifleman, so that shock has disappeared at least. Thank God for small mercies. And then the MG team, but that's going to be where bad things happen. 2 6s, 2 kills. So again, let's roll. Let's see this time, because there's only a few soldiers in here, I'm going to roll to see if both of these are hit, the senior and the junior. The senior commander is red, junior commander is white. Under a 2 for either of those and they're hit. They are the 2 ones that are hit. So this is not good. Right, so we've got to roll again for these guys. This is going to be even more bad things happen. So we've already got a team wiped out, and then we've got hits on the leaders. So let's do the junior leader first. 1 or a 2. 2 or above he's wounded, 1 he's killed outright. 4 he is wounded and his actions are reduced. So he is now down to 1 activation, but that's still a bad things happen. And then the senior leader, a 1 again, he's killed. A 6, he is also wounded as well. Right, there's certainly blood on the snow. Right, so we're going to have to work our way down this. We've got a section killed, a section destroyed, a team destroyed. We've also got a junior leader wounded and a senior leader wounded. So we'll go, first of all, the team wiped out. 6, so that's minus 1 point, so let's keep a tally of that. This is their morale, the Germans. Then we have a junior leader wounded. A 2 is no effect, but we also have a senior leader wounded. A 1 is another point off, so that's 2 off the Germans' morale. Well, that was a pretty good turn for the Americans. They've reduced the Germans' morale and shot up one of their teams. So let's see what the Germans get. So they get another chain of command points. So add one that in a second. They've also got senior leader, junior leader, and a team as well. They've only got the one junior leader, unfortunately. Sorry, they've only got the one senior leader. So the Germans use their junior leader to bomb the Stug up the road as much as possible. They also used a team to move the Panzerfaust crew, Panzerschreck crew forward a little. And then over here, they've activated their senior commander to get this section to fire, and also to get this section to fire as well, whilst reducing their shock by 1. So that means at least that gun is firing on all cylinders. So we'll start with that first of all. This is the MG34 firing again at these two teams over here. So 5s and 6s are hits, so that's 1 hit. And so that will be on the rifles. 5 is just 1 shock on those rifles there. And then we have the firing over here from these two teams against this team here with their senior leader. So let's just see what happens there. 5s and 6s again. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits this time. So that's not great, but we'll see. Maybe it'll result in some kills. So let's have a look. What results we got there? We do actually have 1 kill and also 2 shock on that section as well. Let's just see if it's their senior leader, because he's attached to that team as well. So a 1, and it is. No, it's not. It's just one of the rifle guys. Right, back to the Americans. As this firefight is really bogging down, they really need to start killing some of these Germans to be able to, before that Stug arrives, because that will do damage. Right, we've got 1 chain of command points. The 5, the 6 does nothing. We've got a senior leader, a junior leader, and also a section should they need it. Our first firing is from our senior leader over here. He's getting these 5 Garands to fire at these two teams over here. 5s and 6s are hits, and that is 4 hits. No re-rolls. So 2 hits on each, so the rifle team takes nothing. However, the MG team, that takes a shock and a kill. So there is also a junior leader attached to that section as well. So let's see if he's the one that's hit. 1, and he is. No, he's not. So it's one of the MG team. So that's going to reduce the MG team's firing capacity. Okay, anyway, we've got over here, we've got this section firing at the remainder of the section down there. There's only a team left and the leaders, so let's see what happens with that. 5s and 6s again. Re-rolls on 1s for the white dice, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, and then 1 re-roll. So let's see what that is. That is another 6, so that's 5 hits. There are 2 members of a team in there, plus the junior and the senior commander. So let's just see how many hits we take here. So we've got 1 kill and also 2 shocks. So that puts their shock up to 3. So we'll do that first of all. So we remember. And we've got the 1 kill. So let's see if it's their junior leader, because he's the one that's closest to the MG. Yes, he's hit. He's already wounded. He'll only take 1 more wound anyway, so he's actually killed outright because of that. So that is a bad things happen roll. They are also pinned as well, but that doesn't roll on the bad things happen. But we've got junior leader killed. A 4 is 2 more points off the Germans' morale. They have quickly dropped down to 5. Actually, they're going to spend a chain of command point to stop that roll. They would have reduced one anyway, so I'm going to allow them to do that. They would have reduced by one automatically, so yeah, I'm gonna let them get away with that one. Right, let's roll for the Germans. They have 2 senior leaders. They've only got one. 2 sections and a team, or they can combine a couple of those. So here the Germans have got a huge amount of firing. They've used their leader, senior leader, to drop their shock, so they can fire, and then also he's commanding these as well to fire. The Stug used a junior leader and got all the way this far. He barreled it down the road. It's not been able to fire, but it is now in a position to fire at both of these sections really at this point. The other section used up was the one on the side there, and they are firing as well. We're going to start with these firing at the Americans here in this garden. So 5s and 6s are hits. So we're looking at 4 hits there. Spread across those. There is now, they've been reduced quite a bit, so let's just see what happens with that. So that's 1 kill and 1 shock. Let's put the shock down. They have got a senior leader attached and a junior leader, but let's roll for the senior leader. No, he's not hit, so that's 1 kill. So he's off. Not enough to break them yet. Then we've got our LMG here. This is firing, only firing 7 rounds worth of bullets at these section over here. So we've got 2 hits, 3 hits. So those 3 hits, we'll then see if they convert. No, they need 4, 5s and 6s to do anything, so that's nothing. That was 3s and 1s. And then finally the last section over there, firing again 5s and 6s at these guys behind this hedge. So let's have a look. That's a 1, so that's a miss. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. So we're going to re-roll those. So 2 of those are going to be on the BAR team and the rest on the rifles. So let's do the rifles. They have taken 2 shock, and then the BAR team gets 2 rolls. They have taken nothing. So despite all the Germans firing, very, very little effects there. Right, back to the Americans. So now they're getting threatened by the Stug, so they've got a chain of command point. They probably should have really left their bazooka off the table until a point like this, but they've now got 2 1s and 2 3s, so that is a team and 2 junior leaders or combinations. Okay, in this turn we've got a similar thing. I was going to move the bazooka around, but working out the odds of it actually hitting that Stug, because the Stug moved flat out, is almost impossible. So the bazooka is staying put for now. This team is going to fire down here under the orders of the senior commander. So that's a 6, that's a hit, only 1. That will go on the rifles. See what happens to them. A 4 is 1 shock. So not a great deal of difference there. And then we also have on the other side the other section over here firing again down at these chaps. So we've got let's see, 1, 2, 3 hits from the Grands, 1 hit from the BAR, and a re-roll on that 1. 6, so that's another hit as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits spread across basically 3 men there. So let's see what happens to them. We have 2 shock, so that then goes up to 4. The senior leader is actually attached to them, so they're pinned rather than broken yet. But not a great shot there from the Americans, really. Right, back to the Germans. They've got to get this Stug moving and doing something, otherwise it's just absolutely wasted. 6 is doing nothing on its own. 2, 2 and a 1. So 3 2s and a 1. So that's not so bad. Right, we've got some firing going on here. So we're using a section, number 2, for the section up at the back, up at the woods, firing down at the Americans here behind this fence. Then we're going to fire, well, then we're going to fire with this section, then we're going to fire with the Stug as well. These two are both going to pile fire into here. First of all, from these chaps, 5s and 6s are hits. So let's get rid of all our misses. Oh, there we are. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits. That's much better. 4 on each team. So 4 on the rifles, first of all. So that's 1 kill and 2 shock. That's on the rifles. There is a junior and a senior leader in there. So let's see if the senior leader is the kill, the guy that's hit. No, he's not. So it's just one of the rifles. So this guy here. And then we've got 4 hits on that BAR team as well, which is still made up of 3 men. So let's have a look. So that's another kill and another shock on them. So let's put those together. And then let's see if that's the senior commander who is their senior leader. One it is. No, it isn't. So it's just one of the other riflemen. Now we also have firing from this section down here. These are going to be firing over here at these. So these are looking at 5s and 6s to hit. Let's see what happens. This is just one team again, remember. So we've got 1, 2 hits. Unfortunately, not as good. But there is a senior leader in there. So let's roll, see what happens. 1 and a 4. That is 1 shock. So we just put that dice down there so we remember. But then we do have the Stug, and that's firing with 5 dice. 4 5s and 6s are hits, firing at these because they're counted as in the open and in good conditions. So we've now hit 3 this time. So let's see what happens. It reduces cover, so they're no longer in light cover, they are now in the open. So 5s and 6s are kills this time. So that's 2 kills and a shock. So we'll put the shock on there. 2 kills. There is a junior and a senior leader in there. So let's see if the senior leader is one of the 2 killed. He's hit. Let's see what happens to him. 1, he's killed outright. So we have a senior leader killed, and I think that was it. So yeah, they've got bad things happen roll with a senior leader being killed. Let's just roll that and see what happens. A 6 on a senior leader killed is 3 points off. Wow, that has really almost broken the American defence at this point. One thing I keep forgetting is the Americans actually had chain of command dice, so they've spent it to ignore that roll. So I should have done that before they rolled it. Doesn't really matter, makes no difference to the they would have used it anyway. So the Americans are still on 6, but they have lost their commander. They're still rolling 5 dice, so it's their turn. So they have another chain of command point. So now I've got 3, and they've got senior commander. They've got 1 left. Junior commander, a section, and a team as well. The Americans are starting to feel a pinch now, though. They've lost their senior leader, and they are taking casualties. It's slowly building up the attrition. So these guys are going to fire. Their junior leader is getting them to fire. Senior leader over here is getting this section to fire at the remains of that MMG team. And then we've also brought out with a 1 the bazooka team, who are going to take a shot at that Stug. So we'll start with these firing their grands. There's only 3 of them. Let's have a look. 2 misses, 1 re-roll. A 4, that's a miss as well. They need 5s and 6s. Then we've got this section over here firing again, the LMG down there. So that's 1, 2, 3 hits. There's 2 re-rolls there for their grands. Let's have a look at those. That's another hit, so that's 4 hits in total. Again, they've still got 2 men there and their senior leader. Let's see what happens. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not even any shock. And then we've got the bazooka team. They've moved, so that's -1. Firing at a low target, -2. it's in range band 2, so that's -3. Sorry, it's in range band 4, I think. Let me just check. That's 15 inches away. 15 inches away for the bazooka is range band 3, so -2, so it's a -4. They're firing in the open, so they need a 5, so with a -4 that takes it up to a 9 or above. An 8 just misses. And then back to the Germans. They really need to be finishing this off quick, so we've got a team, a section, a junior leader and 2 senior leaders. Okay, using some jiggery pokery, the senior commander has reduced their shock by 2 and is getting these to fire. They are then using the team to use the LMG to fire. They are also firing with a Stug with this junior leader, and then using the section roll to get the section over on the other side to fire as well. So pretty much everybody is firing at this point. So we're going to start with this LMG, firing at these guys over here, as always. So 5s and 6s first of all. So that's 1 hit. So roll that again. That's going to go on the rifles, and a 3 does nothing. So that's the first one out of the way. The second section is this section down here. These are firing at this team over here. The remains. I think we could probably include the bazooka team as well as part of this. So let's have a look. So we're looking at 5s and 6s again, and we don't seem to have a great deal there. We've got 3 hits. So 2 on the rifle team, 1 on the bazooka team. So we'll do the rifle team first. 5 is 1 shock. So that takes that up to 2. And 1 on the bazooka team. A 5 is another shock on them. Then we have our section up in the woods, firing at these here behind this fence line, so 5s and 6s. This is more like it. Come on, Germans, pull your finger out at this point, I think. Let's see, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 hits spread between the 2 teams, so 4 on the BAR, 5 on the rifles. We'll do the BAR first. Nothing, not a single hit. And 5 on the rifles. That's 1 kill and 2 shock. So again, let's just put a dice down there so I remember how many shock they've got. There is a senior leader in there, so let's see if he's the guy that's killed. No, he's not. So it's just one of the infantry. And then we've got our Stug, and that is going to fire here again at these. So it's basically including all of these. 4, 5, 6s to hit. So 1 hit. That will go on the rifles. 2 does nothing. I'm not sure how much longer these Americans can hold on now, so let's just see what they get. 6, nothing. 5, chain of command point, senior leader, and 2 senior leaders and a junior leader. Right, okay, so we've got senior commander has reduced shock and they're getting them to fire the LMG again. The junior commander is getting he's getting this section to fire, and also the bazooka team as well. And he has reduced, well no, he's just reduced shock and then he's getting the bazooka team to fire. So first of all, we've got the section over here firing at that LMG. Let's see what happens with that. 5s and 6s are hits, any 1s on the white dice are re-rolls. So that's 3 hits, just 3 hits, and see what happens with those. 3 shock, so that puts them up to 5, so that actually breaks that section. So that's going to be a bad things happen for the Germans. They do have 2 chain of command points, so they're going to spend 1 to ignore that roll. They're broken, we'll deal with those in a second. They're going to have to fall back. But we've also got the bazooka is firing. It's got +3, and it needs a 5, but it's +3, so it's an 8 or above to hit. 3, that's a miss. We're now back to the Germans. So we've got 2 6s. They retain the phase. They have 2 3s, junior leaders, and a senior leader as well. Pretty good spread actually. That's exactly what they need, I would think. Okay, our German senior commander has jumped across here, reduced shock. One of their junior leaders is now firing over here. So these are firing at the bazooka team and the rifle team here. So 5s and 6s are hits. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. And split between them, so 3 on the rifles, 2 on the bazookas. So we'll do the rifles first. So that's 2 shock. So they're now pinned, and yes, they're just pinned, and then the bazooka team, nothing, no effect. They have the section over there by the woods. They're firing down on these, this section here, 5s and 6s again. So what we're looking for, 1, 2, 3, 4 this time. This is not going great. The Germans are laying down a hell of a lot of fire, but not great. So we've got 2 on the BAR team, of which there's only 2 left. So that's a shock. That takes them up to 2. And 1 is nothing. And then 2 on the rifle team. Another shock on that rifle team. So that takes them back up to 2. The Germans are laying down a withering fire. I was hoping they would, at this point, do a hell of a lot more damage. Then we've got the Stug, 4 5s and 6s firing at this, the bazooka and the rifles here. So that's 3 hits, 2 on the rifles, 1 on the bazooka. So let's see for the rifles. There's no cover here, so 3 is now another shock. So they are now pinned. And then the bazooka is in the open anyway. 5, that's a kill on the bazooka team. So back with the Germans, they return the phase. So let's see, we've got 3 chain of command points and 2 1s. So that gives them another 3 chain of command points. They've already got that full one anyway. And 2 1s, so that could be a section or 2 teams. Well, the Germans are splitting their fire with the 2 teams, the LMG teams in both of these sections. So the first one up there firing across at the rifles and the BAR there behind that woodland. So we've got 2 hits and 1 on the BAR is a 3, is no effect, and 1 on the rifles is a 3, no effect. And then we have this LMG firing here again at the bazooka and the rifles. So same again, 5s and 6s, so that's actually 5 hits, 3 on the rifles, 2 on the bazooka. So let's have a look at the rifles. They're in light cover, so that's another shock. They're not broken, they're still holding the position. And then 1 on the bazooka. A 5 is a shock, so that automatically pins them. America, what can we do? Let's see, 6, nothing on its own. 4 is a senior commander. A 1 team, 2 a section, another 2 is another section. So all the Americans are able to do, they've reduced shock here on the bazooka team and on the rifles. Reduced shock here with the senior commander, and then they're going to fire over at the Germans over there. Only a small number of dice, but that's quite a few hits. 4 hits, 2 on the LMGs, 2 on the rifles. So the rifles they're in the open, so that's 1 shock on the rifles, and then the LMG team takes 1 shock as well. And back with the Germans. We have 4 senior leader, 3 junior leader, 2 a 1 and a 1. So again, pretty much everything can fire, I think. So we're starting with the German section by the woods. They've reduced shock. The junior leader has reduced shock, and they're firing again at the guys behind that thing there. So we've got 5s and 6s we're looking for. So let's see, 1, 2. That's quite a few hits there. So that's 4, 6, 8 hits. So that's 4 on each team. So the BAR team, 1 kill. Let's see if it's on their senior leader. Nope. So that's 1 kill on the BAR. Let me just put a marker on there so I remember. And then 4 hits on the rifles. 1 kill and 2 shock. So that takes their shock up to 3. So another kill. Let's see if that's the senior. A 1, and it is. No, it's not, so it's one of their rifles. Then we have this section down here firing again at the rifles and the bazooka, of which there's only one left in there. So let's see what they do. 5s and 6s. We have a better number this time at least. That's 6. So 3 on the bazooka, 3 on the rifles. We'll do the rifles first. 5 is, well, they're actually in heavy cover now, so a 5 is another shock because they're pinned. And then 3 on the bazooka. 6 is a kill, so that's enough to take them out. That is also a roll on the bad things happen table. The Americans don't have a chain of command point to roll, so that's a team destroyed. That's 1 point off their morale. And then I'm going to continue. We've got the Stug is firing again at these rifles here. So 4, 5, 6s to hit. That's 3, 4 hits. They are in light cover now because they're pinned. But they're not in heavy cover anymore, so they're pinned because they were reduced by 1 cover because it's HE. So let's have a look. And that is 2 more shock. So that's 8 shock. 1 more shock on that section and they will break. They've already lost 1 morale this turn as well. Okay, with that bazooka team being wiped out, the Americans don't have any anti-tank capabilities whatsoever, so although their morale hasn't collapsed, I'm going to call it, they're going to start falling back off this table edge because they've got nothing that can counter that Stug, and it's just going to sit there and keep blatting away until they're either dead or the positions have been captured. So, with that in mind, I'm going to call this a Pyrrhic German victory. I think they've just they would go on to win this, I think, in a few more rounds. There's no point turning this into a slugging match. This is as far as they got forward, about halfway down the table. The Stug managed to actually get back into action. It should have really got up there as early as possible to start blatting away and to capture these jumping off points. They didn't lose a great deal. The Americans took a hell of a lot more casualties. I'll show you over here. So these are the American casualties on this side, and then the Germans are here. So the Germans took far fewer than the Americans did over here. But that's it, game over. Hope you enjoyed watching this. Hope you enjoyed this Christmas special. Battle of the Bulge, the Bulging CoC. All those funny jokes that we make about chain of command. Please keep watching in the new year. I'll be doing some more AARs, of course. And have yourself a happy Christmas and a happy new year. And see you in 2021.